Good evening. Thank you for joining me in person and online this evening. My name is Angela Mitchell, and I'm an international admissions specialist with the Office of Undergraduate Admissions at Arizona State University. And today I'm going to be talking a little bit about understanding and preparing for university life in the U.S. in regards to the services that are available to international students and to all students on campus. So to look at the full picture of university life that is available at American universities. Uh-oh, and I'm pushing the button and it's not moving forward. What did I do wrong, Vinny? Hold on just a minute. So the first thing I like to ask students, I have to actually click in there, sorry about that, is when you think of American universities, what do you think of? Some students will say they think of this beautiful green building. Some will think of the classes and American students who are just shouting out at the professor or having engaged in conversation. Some will think of this, American sports or party culture. Some will think of how stressed they will be studying in their time there. And some will imagine meeting American friends and walking to class on a nice sunny day. So also I ask for you to think about what you're most excited about in thinking about your life studying in America. Are you excited about making new friends from all over the world and hanging out with them? Are you excited about mom and dad coming on that day of graduation 2 or 4 years in so that you see the fruit of your labor? And then what do you worry the most about? Of course, every student worries about immigration and this process, about having disgusting, greasy American food every day, day in and day out, about feeling a little homesick and missing everything that's familiar to you. And then, of course, about not understanding anything that anyone is saying to you. Thankfully, you're giggling now, so I know that you understand at least what I'm saying. And so today, I want to share with you that the good news is most American universities are prepared to help you through all of those things that you are worried about. We have specific offices, centers, and staff there just to help you with that transition, to help make your life not just inside the classroom and what you're doing studying, but also in all of those other areas to make your life full and complete and enjoyable while you're there. So not just with help with things on campus, but even the things that are outside of your life in university and the next steps of your life moving on with internships, research, or careers. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about all of those things that make up the full picture, and this one didn't work exactly, but the idea that I would like to share with you is that there really is a large foundation on which to build the structure of your academic success. So there are full support services to help you through all of these aspects. So that at American universities, we want to make sure not only are you successful in the classroom with how you are taking in the knowledge and learning about your future area of study, but also that you are successful in all of the other areas of your life as a student. So I will be talking a little bit, you don't have to, about all of these different offices to know about while you are studying on campus. So on every university campus, they will have a slightly different name, but all large U.S. universities and most small universities will have some variation of all of these things there. So it's not the same as universities throughout the world. Oftentimes the staff are just there to make sure the professor gets a copy of your syllabus or grades your exam, but the staff at American universities really are there to help you with every step of your educational experience. So it's important to understand these so that you know that really those staff, the people who are doing that for their job, they're there for you. They're there to help you. They come to work every day to help you be successful as a student. Most American students are going to already know about these services, so the university expects that you will too. So you want to understand them so you know what to go looking for. Also, these services are part of what you are paying for anyway, so take advantage of that. Your families and you are taking a serious consideration in spending the amount of money it takes to earn a degree abroad. So please use not only your time wisely, but also your family's investment wisely. And finally, most statistics show that whether you are an American student or an international student, students who use a large number of these services tend to not only have the best time in university life, but to be the most successful later, because they've learned how to ask for what they need. They've learned to make those connections and networks so they can be successful later in their careers and their lives. So part of why it's important to look at them now, these services, is because it often can help you choose the right school. So is the website or the brochure of the school that you're looking at talking about these services and the fact that they have them? Can you find the web page with the information you are curious about? Immigration, orientation. Usually, and can you see who to contact if you wanted help with those things? Schools that are putting that information out there from the beginning and that emphasis are going to be prepared with the staff and the offices and services to help you be successful. So it's a good idea to start looking for these things from the beginning. It also will help prepare you to go. So after you are admitted, often the school will contact you and say, here's the information about orientation. Here's the map of where to go. Here's how to get from the airport to our campus. Then you know they care about your transition time and your successful start at their campus. And also, if you know about these in advance, then you are starting off on the right foot because you know when you arrive on campus where you can go if you do have these questions. If you start to have problems in the second week of class and you know how to contact the tutoring center, you will be able to get tutoring support at week 2 and not at week 10. So the first and most important office on any university campus for international students is the International Student Office. They are the primary resource, and they are used to helping students come in with any question. Even if it is not about immigration, they'll help you find the right place that will answer your question. Sometimes they will even walk you there or introduce you to someone there. So their primary job is to give immigration advisement. And the immigration advisors, almost every campus, they call them this. So they're there to help you maintain your student visa status. So they will help share the rules and regulations of what that means. And they will also be the ones to give you a call or an email if your class load drops below what the government says, those kinds of things to help make sure you are meeting your promise of your student visa. So they help take care of all of those things. And also they are going to be usually who helps you with getting your OPT and CPT certification at graduation time if you want to try to work in the US for 1 year. They may be the office that plans arrival and orientation help, but I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. They also usually plan international student events. So this is a chance to go and explore the other cultures that are on your campus, as well as share your own. And I think that for many university officials, we enjoy seeing international students become a vibrant part of the community and share their own culture because all of the other students have something to learn from that as well. And some of them will offer language exchange programs or buddy programs with another international student or an American student when you arrive, again, helping with your transition onto campus. And some of them will even help with spouse programs if you're a graduate student bringing in your spouse or your children, things like that. So they are really a great resource for helping you transition into your life at a university, but then also to answer your questions as you go through however many years you are spending. For PhD students, some of you, many years. So there's also usually an office of orientation and transition programs for all students. So they put on the university orientation, and some universities have an international only orientation, and some have an integrated international and domestic. So that will vary from school to school. At ASU, we have a full day international student orientation in Arizona State, just because we know some of the questions that international students have and some of the things they worry about when they arrive on campus are quite different than the domestic students. But after that one day, then you will join in the welcome events of the whole week, the whole first week of classes that is put on by this same office. Within this office, they have orientation leaders or orientation assistants, and those are usually current upperclassmen students who have this job because they want to help make sure the new students coming in will have their questions answered, will find a good start on the campus. This office usually helps with arrival and move-in and plans the back-to-school events and mixers of various kinds throughout that first week when you are on campus. There are also, at many universities now, a University 101 class that you will spend several weeks in, or maybe even one whole semester in, that will help teach you about some of not only the resources of the campus, but the things that you need to know to be successful in university courses. And these are for all students, domestic and international, so that you are prepared to make the most of your 4 years. So one hot tip I wanted to share with you also is that usually on the orientation or transition program's website or in the mailings that they send you will be a list of all of the events that are happening within that first week of coming to campus. And so it's a very good idea to take a look through all of those before you come and plan which ones am I interested in. Oh, I'm an engineering major and there's a barbecue for new engineering students. I want to make sure to fit that into my schedule when I first arrive on campus so I can begin to meet other engineering students even before my classes begin. So this is a really great way to, even before your classes start, feel like you are becoming part of the university and start making friends who have similar interests. So I highly recommend looking through the orientation programs information on campus. University housing, there are a couple different offices and people that usually will help you, and so it's good to have an idea of where you can have which questions answered. There's a main university office that helps you obviously find the room or sign a contract, but usually that's not inside your building or dormitory. But inside your building, there will be what most American students call a front desk, and that is the reception desk. And they will, if something breaks in your room, you can tell them and they will make sure it gets repaired. If you lose your keys, you can tell them and they will help you open your door to get your key from inside or do something like this. They also, some dormitory rooms have a billiards table or and they will check out the equipment for that, or they have a vacuum cleaner to help you clean your room. So this front desk, some of them will keep the packages. When you are missing a little smell of home, maybe mom sends something that will make it there. That will usually be kept at the front desk. So it's a very good idea to say hi to those people on the way in and get to know them a little because they're going to be helping you right there in your own building. Also, within university dormitories, now they have many names, but it could be a resident advisor, a resident assistant, or a community assistant. But this person lives there within your building or your hall just to make sure that the students there are comfortable, are following the rules, and are building a good community within there. So they have, so if you have any sort of problems or you're starting to feel homesick or your roommates and you are disagreeing about something, that person is who you go to. They are trained, upperclassmen students. They're just to help answer the questions that you have or anything that starts to feel like it's a problem. As soon as you feel like it's a problem, go. Don't wait until 3 weeks later when you have feel like it's unfixable. It's never unfixable, but if you go early, they can help give you some ideas about how to talk to your roommate, or they can join you and your roommate for coffee and have a little conversation. So they are an excellent resource for all of you. Also, at some schools, they have peer advisors in the dormitory as well. Those wouldn't necessarily be the people who are going to help answer the questions about your housing or living arrangement, but these would be academic peers. So at Arizona State University, we have the housing is assigned by your area of study. So if you are an engineer, you live with other engineers. If you are a business major, you live with other business majors. And that helps when you need to find a study partner. It also helps because we can bring the academic advisors or the career support right there into the dormitory to talk to you. And so in our dormitories, we have peer advisors, and these are junior and senior level students who have done very well in their courses, and they want to help advise other students on how to be successful academically within your major. So it's also very important to know that in most American universities these days, no one says dormitory. They use this term residence hall. In fact, when they train our staff, they tell us, you cannot say dormitory. So you must say residence hall. So when you see this term, you will understand it means the dormitory. And in some cases, it means you will have, it will seem like a dormitory, many rooms with a bathroom down the hall. In some cases, it will be 2 or 4 bedroom suite with a shared bathroom. Some cases, it's kind of more like apartment, but all of them are called residence halls. So that's where students live. So many students say, oh, which hall are you in? Oh, I'm going back to the hall now. And it sounds a little strange because you think they're going to walk in a hallway, but it means they're going back to their building that they live in. So another important thing to know, especially for graduate students or transfer students, is many universities have an off-campus student center. So it's going to work similarly to the way your housing staff and office would without having to live in the university residence hall. So they can sometimes help you find apartments or houses off campus. They will have some sort of listing or work with some buildings close by, and some will even do roommate matching. So if you don't know who your roommate is going to be yet when you get to campus, you can contact this office ahead of time, or even sometimes go there after you arrive or after your first year of study. So they will help talk about the details about living off campus. Okay, my apartment is going to be maybe 12 blocks away. How am I going to get to campus every day? They might say, well, very simple. There's actually a free shuttle that runs directly from there. So you want to hear from them about how to get to campus if you live off campus. They also will give you some tips and pointers about how to negotiate a lease and what to look for because you are signing a contract. When you sign a contract for a lease in the US, usually you cannot break it. So if you sign for 1 year, but after 9 months you say, oh, actually, I got an internship in New York, I'm going there for the summer, it's very difficult to break this lease. So you want to know what you are signing. Also, they can often tell you the numbers to call and how to set up, or even if it's available online, your electric power, your water, all of these important things so that your apartment is ready for you when you move in. In many cases, they have events for students who are not in the dormitory. So the picture down on the bottom left is actually a picture of the Thanksgiving dinner at our off-campus student center. So they realize that in the dormitory, students can go to a special Thanksgiving dinner in the dining hall. But for the students who are living off campus and have never had an experience of American Thanksgiving, they wanted to have something there. So it's for the students who do not live on campus. And then many of them have some great facilities that you can use. So if you get sick of studying always in the library, or you need some place to meet with your study group from class, but you don't want to take them all the way back to your apartment, many of them have study rooms and lounges that you can use. And ours also has a kitchen. So for students who are living off campus, but they want to bring your lunch, where do you put your lunch all day if you are in class until 2 p.m.? you can actually stop in the kitchen there, and they have special labels for you to write on your lunch and put it in there so that you can come back later and get your lunch there. So there's a lot of opportunity for upperclassmen and graduate students who might not be living in the residence hall to use this facility. Most important, what most students are worried about and thinking about, are how they will be supported in their academic coursework. So first and foremost, every student's best friend on campus should be their academic advisor, because that staff member's job is to make sure that you plan out the courses you're going to take so that you can graduate in time. And they will discuss which courses might be good for you depending on which area you want to go into if you have some elective interest, or they might be able to recommend which professor may be more interesting for you. So they take this very seriously, looking at not only that you're going to graduate in 4 years, but that you get the right classes so you are the most prepared for what you want to do later. So the academic advisor, and for many students, there are a certain number of times you are required to see them. But there's no maximum. So I encourage you to take time to talk to them every semester if you like, so that you can get some extra guidance in making sure that your courses are meeting your needs. Also, every university campus in the US has a tutoring center. Some have dozens of them. On our campus, we have a math tutoring center, an engineering tutoring center, so we have many different specific. In fact, there's even a special center you can go to if you are practicing giving a presentation. So public speaking classes must go there for their first speech, but any student can go there, and you actually go into a room and give a presentation to an older student, usually a senior or graduate student, and they videotape it. So when your presentation is finished, they will give you feedback verbally, and then you will watch the tape together, and you will get a chance to see, so that by the time you have to stand in front of your class to present, you will feel very prepared. So all of these different tutoring services are generally free on most campuses. Some campuses, there will be some low cost if you need additional help. Say you go to the math tutoring center, but you decide, oh, I really know that I need more calculus help than this. They often can help you find an additional tutor. There are so many various types of tutoring specialized to the courses that you're taking and what it is you need to get on most large campuses. Many classes have, for example, speaking of chemistry, because we talked about it, for undergraduate chemistry students, we have something called supplemental instruction. And you actually sign up for this extra type of tutoring, and you go once or twice a week to an extra session outside your class where you do additional practice of the types of problems and the things that you're learning, so that you feel the most prepared. And it helps students often to have this time they have to go study and do practice, because sometimes in your own schedule you're not finding extra time to do chemistry problems, for example, but this sets that into your schedule. It's a set time that you go. Almost every campus will also have a writing center that, for a lot of times, for your first or second English or writing course, you must go have the tutors and the assistants there look through your paper, usually graduate students. But you can take a paper from any class there, and they will help proofread it and look through your paper, so that by the time you're ready to turn it into your professor, it's as polished as it can be. Also, U.S. university libraries are an amazing thing now because they have so many different types of services. Most universities are part of an interlibrary sharing program, so even if that university doesn't have the book that you're looking for maybe for your thesis or your dissertation, they can actually request it from another university that does at no cost to a student. So it's important to know you don't always have to look for ways to buy all of the books for your research. Just because the library doesn't have it, they can do this interlibrary loan, or some of them have a digital loan program, so you could get the book for 1 week and get what you need out of it. We also have a program called Ask a Librarian, So at Arizona State, there are librarians that are specific to your discipline. So when you start, for example, and you are a philosophy major, you know which librarian is a specialist in that area, and you can contact them anytime. There's a 24-hour help online service, but sometimes if you're asking something very specific about philosophy, for example, that librarian will get back to you the next day. But you can ask your question on that system at any time. So if the question comes up at 2 a.m. and you're not going to remember it maybe at 8 a.m. the next morning to send it to them by email, you have an opportunity to send that then. So, and also there are offices available on campus to help you get research positions with faculty who are either doing research in a lab or in some other way, and those are usually available at many schools now, even to undergraduate students. There's a strong emphasis right now in US schools in general to help undergraduate students have some time doing research with faculty, so that if they do plan to go to graduate school, then they are better prepared for that, and they're more competitive for a graduate position. So I also have this tip, and you will hear it over and over and over again from American University staff members, but at US universities, all faculty are required to have office hours. This is set time in their schedule every week where they are sitting and waiting for you to come with questions. My husband is a faculty member, and he hates it if he has to sit at his office hours and no one ever comes. He feels like he's being stood up on a date. So, but these professors have this time set aside specifically so they can help students with the questions they have in their classes, or to maybe you are unclear about a certain aspect but you didn't feel comfortable asking in class. This is an opportunity to go say, could you just clarify for me when you were talking about this point, how you got from A to B? I don't quite get it. And that's what they will do at that time. So not only are the staff there within the university to help you be successful, the faculty also are teachers because they want you to be successful in learning about their field. They want to share that with you. So the Student Involvement Center, again, is one of those things that has many, many different names on campus, but all of them will have some sort of center like this where you can go to find out more about clubs and student organizations. On our campus, because we have 72,000 students at Arizona State University, we have about 1,000, a little more than, student clubs and organizations. So my favorite joke is we have two types of salsa clubs. One for people who eat salsa, and one for people who dance salsa. So pretty much everything that students enjoy doing or plan to do in the future, there is some sort of club or organization for that. There are also a lot of pre-professional societies, so Future Entrepreneurs of America, or this type of global Philosophers Association. So there are different societies like this that you can join and become part of, that will, other like-minded students who are thinking about their future within that, and might later be a network for you as you look at your own career. Or in the case of the Entrepreneurial Society, usually two people get together and start a business, so you never know. There are also many, many, many opportunities for leadership within American universities. So there is student government for the whole university. Usually there's an undergraduate student government and a graduate student government. In some schools, there are even positions for international senators or specific positions so that international students can have a voice at that table. In our undergraduate student government, we specifically have a position for that. In some, they will take the leaders of the top student organizations, whether they're international or domestic, and have a caucus like this and talk about what kinds of things are important and take that back to their government meetings. Most academic departments also have their own kind of internal student government. So it's possible to be the president of the Business Students Association, things like that. And then within the residence hall, there's a government there of students who are living there in different positions to think about what you want to do within your building. And okay, we want to do a community service activity over spring break. Let's start to plan that. So there are a lot of different leadership opportunities and ways to get involved and have that added experience within your university life that will definitely help you as you go on into your future in your career or business life. So also, most campuses these days have a volunteer center where you can go and find out about volunteer opportunities. In the case of most of the large universities, they start right from the beginning. I talked about the Welcome Week activities before classes start. Most schools now have a giant volunteer activity then because they know all students are available. So you can start off getting involved in helping the local community, your new home, right, your new city or area. Right from the beginning, you can help get involved and get to know that. And because there's a picture of one on the far right there, and usually it's also a really great chance to get to know other students who are interested in that similar kind of giving back. So it's a good chance to get to know people. And finally, the Student Involvement Center is in charge of, or kind of helps put together a calendar usually of the different campus events. And most schools on their homepage, you will see a link to event calendar or see what's going on campus this week. And that's a really great way as you're looking at schools or as you're comparing, okay, I have offers from 3 schools, which one is interesting to me? Go and look at the calendar of what's happening on that campus. You will get a good idea. Oh wow, a Nobel Prize winner is coming to give a lecture, or a jazz musician is coming to perform on campus, and I really love jazz. You can kind of see what are the things that are happening on this campus, and are there things that I would like to go do when I'm there, but not just think about I would like to when you actually go to campus. Then take part in those activities, and you will have a chance to meet other students who also enjoy those same things. So I highly recommend taking a look at the campus events website and seeing. Gives you a good feel of what that university is like, so you can see if that university would be a good fit for the interests you have outside of class. So of course, most university campuses actually have a student health center on campus or next to campus. You can actually make an appointment to see doctors and nurses right there who meet with students all day, every day. So some campuses also have a pharmacy right there connected to it, so if you just have a headache or if the doctor gives you a prescription and you need to get it filled, it's convenient for you. And many of them offer what we call wellness workshops. So this can be anywhere from eating right during finals time to incorporating daily meditation into your life to help you kind of even everything out. So it's very common now on American universities' campuses to offer these type of wellness workshops to help students figure out how to balance. Many students are just leaving their parents' home for the first time, and they have the stress of school, the stress of living on their own, and so sometimes figuring all that out is a little bit difficult. And so the Student Health Center can help with that, as well as the Counseling Center can help with that. And usually the Student Health Center is who's going to offer your student insurance plan or the student health service as well. And of course, the Student Rec Center, most campuses call it. This is the center of recreation on campus. So there will be gym and sometimes a pool. Many of them have tons of classes. So it's a really great place to go blow off some steam or make some friends, play a pickup basketball game, whatever you are interested in. And of course, intramural sports teams. So if you enjoy playing some sports or you want to learn a new one, then usually those intramural sports are at the Student Rec Center. So you can see there one of the winners of there was an inter-hall football championship. So every single dormitory put together a team and they competed against each other. So this is just one of the examples of the ways you can have some great experiences outside the classroom and stay involved, meet some friends. So many international students ask about student employment. There is usually a student employment office on campus that helps students find campus jobs, or at least has a list of them available online or in person. They may also work with some local companies as well. Sometimes those are local companies that will hire students. A lot of times if you are on a F1 student visa, then you are required to work on campus. So it's good to know where to go to find that list of who is hiring on campus. And they will often assist. Sometimes you will need to give a social security number or some other permission to work. And so they will tell you the steps that you need to do in order to get a letter or whichever step you need to take. American universities always have career centers as well. And these are the best resource, and many students wait way too long to go there because you are at university specifically to learn in your field and get your degree, but you're there to get the degree so you can get the job. So you can go to the Career Center right from the beginning of your time at university and find out how to prepare yourself for that time later. So career centers will organize career fairs on campus, and I often recommend to students in their second or third semester on campus to just go walk around the career fair. See what kind of companies are there at your campus looking for students studying what you're studying. There's no harm in going and in asking some questions, especially before the pressure is on, right? So often the Career Center will give information about both internships and jobs. So some schools, larger schools, will have an internship fair and a career fair. So at ASU, because we have 72,000 students, we have every semester an internship fair and a career fair, plus many of the major academic departments have their own. So just specializing in people who are coming out in supply chain management or some other area. So the other great thing that happens at the Career Center is not only are they putting on these big events on campus, but they have ongoing workshops, and you can make appointments usually to sit down with someone who will look at your resume or a cover letter and give you some tips, particularly if you are applying to jobs and internships in the US. It's very different there, writing a cover letter, and many resumes do not look anything like a CV you may have to turn in here. So you want to really know, are they going to take the time to look, or are they going to say this isn't what we were looking for just based on how it looks visually? So they will also do mock interviews with you or give you lists of common questions that are being asked in certain fields at that time. So you can help yourself prepare for when you do have that interview, so the question doesn't seem so strange. American interviews sometimes are very informal. They will ask things like, what are your 3 favorite hobbies? Or which movie is your favorite movie and why? Sometimes they ask things that have nothing to do with how you will perform in your job. Because just like you are looking for the right fit in a university, American companies try to look for the right fit with their staff. So they often ask these questions to get a better idea of who you are. So it's very interesting looking at interviews in different places. And some career centers may even set up career interviews right there on campus. For graduate school interviews, it's very common, even if you are going to a different school for graduate school, to have the opportunity to have your interview on your own campus. But also for job interviews, many large companies will say, okay, we are interested in hiring students from this major and we will be on campus for 2 days. We will begin looking at resumes and we will set up our appointments right there on your campus in your interview rooms. So finally, one of the great services of American universities are the alumni associations. So I love talking to students about alumni association before they come to the US, because actually it's one of your greatest resources here at home to find out who are the alumni and is there an active chapter here in my country, because then you have a chance to connect with other people who know about your school. They can tell you a little more, and also they can maybe give you some of the secrets. Oh, the good place to study is the Nobel Library on downstairs. You know, just the little things that will help get you off on the right foot. But also, they may say, okay, I'll be looking for you when you come back in 2 years or 4 years. And so please send me an email at that time and let me know how you're doing. So it's great to find opportunities to connect with the alumni before you leave. And many of the alumni associations have mixers, and some even have specific events for sending students off. And if you are invited to one of these send-offs, please, 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 I encourage you to go, because you will meet other students here who are going to that university, or who are already there sometimes. But also you will see who those alumni are, who might be hiring me when I come back, and what do they hope I get out of my 2 or 4 years on the campus, so that I'm prepared for that job when I come back. You also want to use the Alumni Association to make connections while you're a student. The picture on the far right is actually a dinner in Los Angeles that's put on by a school of current students and some alumni. The Alumni Association puts it on to help those students think about, what am I going to do in my next step, and help start networking for the employers, and also sometimes not specifically for that company, but just to give advice about when you are going out to get a job later. Of course, at some schools, Alumni Association has a small fee, but I always encourage students to join that because they have a lot of benefits, job listings often, or discounts on certain things. So it's a really good idea to use that to stay connected, particularly if you're coming back home and you want some way to continue having that experience that you had while you were there. And of course, wherever you live, if there are alumni meetups once you go back, then you for sure want to find a way to go to those different events so that you can keep your contact and make not only job connections, but friendships. You have that shared experience at that university, even when it wasn't the same time. So I overall encourage you to use these services to make the most of your time abroad. As I said in the beginning, you are already paying for them, and they're there. These staff are here to help you on your campus succeed in what you are doing, not just in your 4 years there, but in the rest of your future. And so remember, I think international students often, they think, I'm going away from home, I'm completely on my own, I will go there, I will be completely on my own, but you're not completely on your own. That's why we have these offices, to help you. But also, you must be willing to reach out to those offices. So please go there, ask questions, walk by the hallway maybe, just to see where the Career Center is in the beginning, so that you know, so that when you do need to go ask about it, you know where it is, and you can be brave. Go ask your questions and go get the help. That's why they are there, is to help you. So, of course, do your research and read what your chosen school sends to you before you go, so you know and have a good idea of what's there, so you can utilize it from the beginning and throughout your time. And then, of course, work with EducationUSA advisors to help prepare yourself for your time before you go. They're here and they're experts, so they're going to help you be successful as soon as you get on our campuses, or at least help connect you to these offices. So if you have more questions, and then I will open it up to questions. But again, my name is Angela Mitchell, and I'm an international admissions specialist at Arizona State. Do you have any questions?
It's not a question, but I was having difficulty reading the pictures because the colors were black, red backgrounds. And even not a big problem when looking at the screen, the computer screen. It's in the projector.
You should have turned off some more lights. I'm sorry if you would have. Okay.
Everything you explained is
Good. Thanks.
One question.
Okay.
You mentioned OPT
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to repeat the question. The question is about, OPT and CPT, and these are optional practical training and curricular practical training. They're U.S. government-approved programs for international students studying on an F visa to have an opportunity to work after they graduate. For most programs, it's 12 months, but for some specific majors, it's a little bit longer. So the immigration's office on the campus can tell you exactly what rules would apply to your situation. But if you are offered a position in the U.S., you can work during that time as OPT or CPT. Outside of the campus, yeah. The idea is for you to have an opportunity to work in your industry and gain some work experience in the U.S. within your industry.
As an F1 visa, I heard that during the school, I cannot get another job if you're
So you must work an on-campus job while you have an F1 visa, with the exception of this OPT and CPT. So CPT is usually attached to one of the classes that you're taking. It's called curricular practical training. So in some courses, you would have to have a class attached to it. Sometimes you can take independent study class and attach it to that, but it would have to do specifically with something that you're learning. And some of those positions are not paid. So you could do an internship, but use your CPT. But yes, those would get, yeah.
Actually, it's been OPT leader in Korea.
Perfect.
She doesn't have any idea about OPT or CPT.
Good. So my suggestion to everybody, if you are on the computer, is talk to EducationUSA about OPT and CPT. Perfect. And Vinny's going to add a link.
What kind of options are available for international students over the vacation, like summer vacation? Like using your university as an example, can they continue to stay in the residence halls, or what students usually do?
So usually, on almost every campus, students can stay in the residence hall, especially in summertime, and they can enroll in courses, as well as maybe do an internship or a volunteer position. One of the things that I love to suggest to our international students when they start asking me around this time of year, usually around spring break, oh, what am I going to do this summer? I always recommend them to go find out about being an orientation leader or an orientation advisor for the incoming international students in the summer, because that usually is a summer-long position.
Okay.
So there are lots of different options. Many international students that I see take courses still in the summertime, but you can take your summer times off. And you don't have to be enrolled in classes to stay in the dormitory over summer break usually, in most cases. So, yeah. So you can still have a home.
There's a question online here, a couple, but let's see. Is it common for international students to get jobs after graduation? What happens to their work permit? Do they have to come back to Korea to get visas renewed?
These are all immigration questions. So the caveat here, the explanation is I am not an immigrations expert, so I probably should not touch those too closely. What I will say is usually on the campus, as those questions start to come up, students can talk to the immigrations advisors who are trained to deal with that, and also to career services, because especially at universities where there are large numbers of international students, they are used to knowing what the employers need to do and or what the students need to do in order to seriously consider opportunities to stay, or if they would need to return. And some of that will depend on the types of visas.
And there's another question. Are these support services available at all universities, even mega-scale public universities? Are they mostly free or low cost, as you said?
Okay, so I like the mega scale term. So generally speaking, the larger the university, the more services there are, because there are more students, but also then there are more staff. So I will use my university as an example. Arizona State University is the largest public university in the U.S. So using your mega scale, we are the mega scale university, and we have not only all of these services that I listed, but many more as well that I just don't have time to go into. So, for example, on our campus, our international students office, there are 10 immigration advisors there available for students. So on some campuses, there might be one person who is the immigration advisor and also does orientation and also helps with housing. So depending on the size of the university, there would be more staff available to do those things. But yes, I would say by and large, particularly at public universities actually, because usually public universities require this type of support.
Okay, I'm going to frame this question kind of from the mentality of some of my students who are studying in English, so they're actually graduating from high school at a much older age than their Korean counterparts. And in a Korean perspective, being older than other students entering university is rather awkward, and they're not sure what that would be like in America. So can you just talk a little bit about kind of who's the average student or what kind of diversity they're going to find among other incoming freshmen?
Okay, so the question is particularly about the diversity in freshmen and with some specifics about age diversity. So first of all, there's definitely a trend in American universities overall for students to be entering a little bit later, whether that be because they're taking a gap year, because they're doing a little work and then returning. So years ago, we used to say a non-traditional student was anybody who wasn't 18 coming straight from high school, and these days, they've totally eliminated that terminology of non-traditional student because there is less of a traditional student at this point. So at most schools, there is not only a variety of students, but so for example, we have a Veterans Student Center on our campus for U.S. veterans. There are many, many now who are returning from 2 or 4 years of service, not unsimilar to Korean students, and are entering university at that point. So I would say that overall, age diversity is less rare than it was in the past. It's become more common. Other questions?
Does it also apply to graduate school?
Graduate school is the whole range. So, you know, I can tell a joke. Right before I came to Korea, I was watching the news and saw a student who was graduating in May who was 15 from my school, and he was going directly to graduate school. But then we also have undergraduate students. I just met with an undergraduate student about 2 weeks before I came here who was in his 40s, but he had never gotten a degree, but he realized that in order to move to the next level in his company, he had to have at least a bachelor's degree. So he had taken some community college classes in the past. He was very worried if they would still count. So we were talking about what it would take to come back to school for him. So, but for graduate students, you have the whole range of age, world experience, work experience. And oftentimes, the more of those experiences you have, the more it will benefit you.
I think there's sometimes a stereotype that larger universities do not give as personalized attention to students, because although there are more staff, there are also just a lot more students. So can you address how that works at your university?
Yeah, I was going to say, I definitely think that just having more, the student to staff ratio is going to be similar. So even though the perception may be that there are so many students, in reality, we hardly ever have students who don't get to see the advisor or don't have an opportunity to we have both scheduled online appointments and walk-in hours.
Okay.
And so a lot of times this is taught specifically about immigration advising, but it would apply kind of to everything. I think that it often is more of a ratio issue overall than a sheer number issue. Yeah. I definitely have sat in an academic advisor's office and watched her say, "Hi, Vinny, so great to see you today. Hi," every student that came in, she knew those were her students. So, as I said in the beginning, most staff members on the university campus decide to work on a university campus because they truly believe that helping students through that time of university and helping them get set on the right path in their adult life is what they want to do. And so I think that keep that in mind as you go to ask those questions. It's not necessarily, even at a public university where I am a government employee, I'm not saying, fill out this form, sign your name at the bottom, go move to the next window. It's a different approach because it's a university setting. I like it. Okay, any other?
If there are no other questions, we'd like to thank our speaker, Angela Mitchell from Arizona State University. And you can also visit our website, www.educationusa.or.kr, or our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/educationusa Korea for more information. Thank you very much.